Previously on the episode 60 and 61, I forgot to mention that authority likes to collect information about people and use it against them, and that you shouldn't talk to police because that's a big deal. Oh boy. Anyways, this time the manipulation game is gonna be turned into a little bit different form. There are masters and puppets, and then there's that place where I went into, and it is just as shitty as either of those two other places. You can be a puppet or a master. You're gonna have a good life either way, right? If you're a puppet, you can actually observe other puppets and sort of act as a very common type of person. You will have no problem having small talk with everyone and enjoy consuming things and not care about much at all, right? Because you're sort of under control, except if anything goes wrong, you'll get sucked dry. You're gonna be used as a resource, right? If the master decides that, oh, I don't quite like where I am right now, so I'm just gonna pull some strings and gain a little bit more benefit, you're gonna get in trouble very easily. Okay. Now, for masters, they're the ones that manipulate, right? But really, both cases are filled with manipulation. Accepting manipulation is just as bad, because if you accept it, then you sort of expect everyone else around you to accept it as well. And at the same time, you don't really like masters in general, and you will try to cut the strings as long as you can get away with it, and slowly puppets cut their strings one at a time until they get caught and put back in order, basically. However, not all masters and all puppets decide to play by the rules of manipulation. They can kind of fall apart or fall out of this order completely, and who knows what happens. That's what limbo means. It's just an absolute confusion, and you sort of go back to where you came from because you don't find anything after you complete this challenge of freeing yourself, right? Now, it would actually be quite a complicated question for puppets, okay? For puppets, it's pretty easy to understand why you would want to go to the land of Limbo. Why would you want to free yourself? But this is not exactly true. Puppets don't want to free themselves. Puppets don't want to accumulate power that eventually they can use that power to resist anything, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly looking into the authority and figuring out their weaknesses, their behavior, everything, man. This is deep. And you better believe that this is going to be effective as well. Just because I'm still a puppet and I play by the rules doesn't mean that I do in fact play by the rules. Maybe I just found a way to hide those facts. But let's let's not start investigating anyone just yet, because I have to deal with shit. I have to work shitty job, and besides everything, all these conspiracies, I mean, there's still inequality. There's still some shit going on that just pulls you in back into this mindset that I don't deserve this. I'm smarter than that. Uh, there should be enough tools for me to uh, output enough value where I'm satisfied with life, and there's not enough of that going on at the moment. Uh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure when that's going to happen. I mean, I do certainly live like a double life. On one hand, I'm trying to be the master of this ray tracing engine now, and at the same time, I have to be the puppet to earn that money, to earn my living, as everyone else who are doing exactly the same thing. But most puppets don't do what I'm doing, right? They're not trying some incredibly smart thing. It's either you go to manipulate people or you go to be manipulated. It's like so fucking weird. And usually it's you're pulled by some kind of force. Usually it's either your parents influencing you and giving you a lot of money and sort of understanding of money that makes you fear, what if I don't get it? What if I don't make it? What if I disappoint my parents? Like, you sort of become a puppet in order to become a master. And a master for the rest of your life, basically. You're a puppet for that little bit of time. Does that mean that you're a master a little bit of time when you're dealing with other puppets? In fact, I would guess the same thing. You're a master to learn how to become a puppet. Because back in the day, I used to be very courageous and expressive with my friends. I mean, I'm comfortable with my friends. That's really cool. And I could do so many just honest, fun things. And when that's all gone, I can't do anything. I just become purely a puppet. I don't feel like a master in any situation when I don't have these fun moments. Except, obviously, the gaming. Gaming kind of brings back that sort of feeling of mastery and feeling that you can actually work your way out of this. And another thing is YouTube as well. You look at those successful people and you're constantly motivated to just try and interact with them, even if they don't give a fuck about you. And it's really hard to jump into relevancy whatsoever. For me, I believe the moment I'm relevant, it's gonna snowball really quickly. But until that happens, I'm gonna be stuck spitting out conspiracies, not really being able to like advertise myself or be attractive with my content, because I don't do shit besides spitting out ideas, right? But these ideas are very valuable, and I'm not the only one doing it, you know. So I don't feel like this is a waste of time. Besides, this is not for everyone, and most importantly, this is for me. Right? I'm doing this for myself. I'm not necessarily seeking for fame, but I certainly seeking to to help the environment, and the environment helps me. It's like simple symbiosis. I'm just doing stuff. I'm just trying to understand what life is. Just doing some basic good things, which comes in a form of just generating ideas. Anyways, so yeah, you're a master to learn how to become a puppet. You're a puppet to learn how to become a master. It's sort of like you have to suffer enough pain to understand it. You must avoid this pain by all cost. But the parents are gonna push you down into that little box and make you feel like shit. Okay. Until they won't. They're gonna go to Dr. Phil and say, maybe I'm not gonna give you $1,000 a month. You know. But then they come out, and then, oh shit, I actually bought you that car. I hope you know which example I'm talking about there. The spoiled little brat example. Literally, she was trained to be a puppet for that little bit of time, and then now she's a fucking master, right? And she's not gonna go back into her to struggle, right? To struggle for her mom's sake. It's just such a fucking pain. But it makes sense, right? This equation makes sense. Alright, so the land of Limbo. I really hate it because I cannot talk to puppets. I cannot actually enjoy talking to them. It's really scary for me to actually open up when I am in a place where they most likely don't want to go. I don't know, I never really tested their reaction to this entire thing. I mean, I'm hoping that there are always enough opportunities to just jump into that limbo position, and always opportunities to realize that there's so many ways to improve yourself, and a lot of these ways are actually potentially valuable to other people. But obviously the system right now doesn't actually tell you these things consistently, because again, it's easier to just manipulate you at the moment. It's just let's make things simple. Let's make things simply bad, right? Simply unfinished and cruel. Let's just leave it that way. It's a lot easier, right? It's a shortcut. And shortcuts are great for a little while, until we realize, oh, we're earning a lot of money, we have a lot of free time, we don't want to work as much. Then we realize, oh, now I have one hobby, another hobby, I'm interested in this and this, and this is what's happening in my life, and I would expect other people to kind of be forced in that position anyways. At least the puppets, right? Now what would happen to the masters? Again, the same question. Puppets clearly want to be free, right? It's really so confusing, because puppets are almost trained not to think about freedom. Freedom is like the worst thing you can think about. And I even constrain myself more than anyone else. I don't talk to anyone. I just keep it to myself, and bam, I'm sort of like invisible. And I get really scared when someone actually approaches me, because I'm interested in freedom, right? And you can't promote freedom. It's like so fucking weird. It is so weird. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to talk about with these people, right? When the only thing I care about, which is totally valuable, and it's just not relevant to them. So what about the masters? And why do puppets don't want to free themselves then? I really don't understand. I really don't understand this. Okay. It feels like, see, they need friends, they need guidance. They need a lot of help. And love and respect and all these little things. Humane things that they're not willing to take their step. They need some kind of leader, right? That's what I feel. Like, they're afraid as well. And freedom is a very scary concept in that sense. This is, I mean, if it's so valuable, then there is no reason to actually avoid it, unless you're just kind of scared that someone is going to step in and put you in prison instead of giving you actual freedom, right? I think, I mean, we're approaching that position where once we master the consent, once we master the golden rule, everyone should be somewhat free to do pretty much anything. From killing yourself to just real actualizing yourself. I mean, the range is gonna be pretty big on what you can do. And everyone will have opportunities, and those opportunities are very important, right? If you're happy, you're gonna spread happiness all over the place. It's gonna be crazy, okay? Crazy how the world is gonna change. But until that happens, we still have to suffer and still have to use the shortcuts. And who knows how the life really works beyond what life is to everyone. I mean, crazy. Oopsie noodles. Now, what about the masters? Are they afraid? Well, do they always want to be in control or something? They always want to be rich. Makes sense. Masters always want to be rich. Well, puppets don't want to be rich because they would feel like being rich is a burden, or they would simply not know how to use wealth in general. They don't know how to invest into themselves. Because if they knew how to invest into themselves, the moment they pull one string, they have learned something. Okay? They would invest everything they have learned and all the time they have gained from pulling that one string into completing the entire process of freeing yourself. I mean, that's just simply what you do. You invest into yourself. Anything you get, you invest into yourself. You invest into generating more wealth. Instead of just consuming or like smoking and drinking all these things. This is not a rich person's behavior, right? A rich person is going to avoid any waste of wealth. They're going to invest a lot of time investigating what is the best way to earn money. But at the same time, the rich mindset is to always ignore that you're becoming a manipulator, that you're actually using other people, and sort of losing empathy for them, losing empathy for people that are actually poor because you think they're just puppets, they don't understand better. And you quickly can start figuring out how to easily manipulate them and extract wealth from them because they allow themselves to be stringed. And so you sort of rely on that idea. You sort of build yourself on top of that, pyramid of other people. So it's always important for masters to just, well, they're all dependent on the same strings. They're just on the other end. And they cannot really have what puppets have, which is a lot of friends, a lot of, interactions. They might not be necessarily happy, but it's different. Okay, it's tough, and it does give you happiness in the end if you push it. You sometimes laugh at other people, sometimes get angry. It's very dramatic and emotional, but it's more real than what masters experience, even though they experience the most exquisite tastes, right? They can go to any restaurant, they can watch any movie, whatever they want to do, right? It's all open for them. And they can hire people to do whatever they want as well. But they still cannot feel like they can be friends with anyone. They cannot buy friendship or trust. They must always, hide their wealth away from everyone else. So it is quite an interesting situation. And it sucks to be in a land of limbo and nobody wants to come here. Because, I mean, this is a safe place. I'm not gonna fucking brag about being able to free myself to a certain degree. I mean, this is nothing. What other people do, it feels like everyone is same as close, at least from the relevant people that I care about. They're just the same as close to where I want to be in terms of freedom, in terms of achieving freedom. I don't know. It's a challenge. This is the whole series about just doing that, figuring things out, and hating masters and puppets. But right now, masters, because I'm more of a puppet than a master. I still haven't gotten into that habit of manipulating people, for the sake of freeing myself, of course. But still, in order to not be a puppet, you also have to master against other masters. It's just complicated. So this is not over yet.